Greetings from the capital under attack by the Panem rebels. I've been spending the last 2 weeks with Katniss and PETA. My daughter finally read The Hunger Games, which meant she could watch The Hunger Games. And it's summer, and she blew through all 3 books in 2 weeks. So we've been hitting we've been hitting Panem hard this week. So if I'm a little kind of emotionally drained, everything's cool in my house, but that friggin' book and movie series works. I want to say I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but damn, that is a good book. And I would argue the greatest cast movie series I have ever seen.
You don't think
Jennifer Lawrence, perfect. Josh Hutcherson, kind of small, but other than that, perfect. Julianne Moore, perfect. Philip Seymour Hoffman, perfect. Woody Harrelson, perfect. And I could go on and on and on. But we aren't here to talk about The Hunger Games. We're here to talk about Tap or Die. We've got Anthony Stokes in with us. We may have a super secret guest star coming in later. I guess, you know what? Even if he can't make it, because we know Anthony has a con tomorrow. Pat Shand, that's a super special guest, has a show tomorrow. So we're not guaranteeing that he can make it, and we're not guaranteeing we're going to keep Anthony up all night. In fact, we've guaranteed him we're not. So it's a great night. But before we get to it, books, Will, I haven't seen you in a little bit. How are you?
Yeah, doing all right, man. Did you have a good break? I know we took last weekend off, and I think I got some sleep.
Yeah, it was nice, and we got to talk. I got to talk to Will Dunford about Horus from Hell during your work day. We didn't bother you and try to get you in trouble with the new job, but yeah, it was nice. It was weird to wake up on a Saturday not feeling like complete hot garbage, so that was kind of cool. But you know what? We do it for the other creators in the community, and we do it for ourselves because we have time. And speaking of that, yeah. Anthony, how the heck are you? We haven't seen you in a couple months.
Man, yeah, it has been a couple months, man. I'm doing good, but I'm exhausted. I don't even know why I just lied. I just gave like the NPC answer. Like, I am tired. I am working. It's like giving curse. Like, it's like I moved like closer to a professional career, which is good, but then I'm also I have a professional workload, so it's rough, man. I got a couple of work for hire jobs, which I didn't think I'd get this early, so that's good. Spent that money, comics, like spent that money just on, man. So I'm doing good overall, but I am tired.
When it comes to money and comics, it's here today, a page tomorrow. So exactly, you got to get it in to make the next book. So. Right now, this is your show. So we normally do a 30-second pitch, and then we take a little time. But why don't you let us know what Tap or Die is, and I will pull up the screen, and we can go straight into it.
Absolutely. So Tap or Die is about a guy. He's super talented. He's in a wrestling league. He's being gatekept by the legacy wrestlers. The commissioner screws him over to protect the legacy wrestlers, and he gets revenge.
Nice. So one thing that I always ask when there's a wrestling comic is, are we in the world where wrestling is like our world, where it's great athletes kind of improving a made up thing, or is wrestling in your world a legitimate sport where the winner is not known before a bout starts?
Yeah, so that's something to put on the campaign. The kayfabe does not exist in this world. Like, whatever the narratives are, that's what's happening. Which is really cool. And I also think, like, I'm a big sports fan, and I think what's cool about wrestling is that, like, wrestling is all about the narrative. So I think hopefully you can get away with more. Hopefully there's more of a suspension of disbelief for certain things. With that being the case,
do you have an idea on what the crossover is between comics and wrestling? I know on Twitter, when there's a huge like WrestleMania or something, I've got half of my feed is like who would win, Batman or Wolverine, and the next one is I can't believe that I don't know, CM Punk pulled that guy's dick off or whatever it is. So what is it between comics and wrestling that has a crossover?
I think it's like I said, like I think being a nerd ultimately is about what's the depth of lore, how many hours can I sink into this thing? And again, so like for instance, I love football, right? But not every football year is interesting. Like not every basketball year is interesting. But with wrestling, it's like every single year the most interesting thing is happening. So I think there's a lot to sink your teeth into. And then, it's also superhero. You got costumes, like
Mhm.
you got the machismo stuff, you got the cute girls, like it's not there's some overlap for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
my wife has often talked and joked with me and just talked about how comic books are soap operas for dudes. And when you really think about it, there every month you get a new chapter instead of every day, and it ends on a cliffhanger that makes you want to come back. And
Exactly.
there's these bigger than life personalities doing things that a real person probably wouldn't. And every time she says it, I have to go, "You're right." And soap operas kind of rule because of all those things that make comics good, and that is there in wrestling as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Like and I'm really excited. Like I want to do more sports. Like I would love to be the sports, comic guy. Like that
Right.
that might be something we can drum up.
Yeah. I I would love to. I'd love to do something with either football or baseball, but I don't see very many good football movies. So I've always wondered, could you tell a football play on a comic page? Well, you could tell it, but can you tell it
Can you
well?
tell it well? I Shield
Mhm.
21 is a manga, and it's one of my favorite mangas. And it does a decent job of explaining like the basics, like the broad strokes. But I think like football is like really complicated
Hmm.
conceptually. And because oh my god, like rugby, dog. I watch rugby. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like I have no clue what is happening. So I think maybe it's easy to write something about soccer, right? When it's just like don't touch the
Mhm.
ball, put the ball, basketball, you know what I'm saying? So maybe easier, but we'll see. We'll see.
That's interesting. No, well, you talked about manga. When I looked at the art on this, there's a very kinetic energy
Yeah.
to the art, and I did feel like the art has 1 foot in American comics and 1 foot in manga. Is that intentional, or is that just something that I'm pulling out?
No, it's definitely intentional, man. I always got one, you got the black and white, right?
Mhm.
And my first break in the comics was through manga, you know. And then even I think I had like even like I would read the Ultimate Spider-Man, not the Ultimate Spider-Man, but the Essential Spider-Man.
Oh, gotcha.
That was
Mhm.
big. Those are in black and white. So
Hmm.
there was that. And then also Berserk was a big influence for not the series, like those that read Berserk know it's super talking about lore. It's like really thematically deep and like it's about like determinism and shit like that. This isn't that deep, but it's like those little moments where you can capture that kind of stuff and capture those moments. There's like, could you just keep scrolling down?
Sure.
Keep scrolling. There's like this great. I'm saying, I'm gonna stop. Right here. Scroll down. Like this moment, and I feel like this is a manga thing where a character gets ambushed and it's also slightly aware of what's about to happen. It's that sweet spot, and that is straight out of a manga. I feel like.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. And did you
Yeah.
specifically grab this artist for that reason, or did you find the style as you were working?
I just thought the artist was really good, and I just thought they were talented. I thought they were really good at like I discovered that they're amazing at action.
Mhm.
I don't think the aesthetic is like like if you just took a page like a
Right.
panel, I don't think it's manga style per se, but I think with the action and stuff like that, I think it is. So no, I didn't search for that sort of thing. Bro, just and also, it's you work with somebody for the first time, it's like a dance, like you're stepping on
Hmm.
toes and you kind of realize, okay, this person's good at this, that. Let's emphasize that going forward.
Right. All right. So I know this is issue 1. It leaves off with a cliffhanger. So how long is this envisioned if you get all of your dreams come true on it?
Bro, I mean, this right now is keeping the lights on, so this might go on indefinitely. Like I got an ending. I got an ending, but I'm really waiting to see how it does. I'm waiting to see how the first couple do, and if it's something that is, like, let's be honest, there's the cynical process, right? Like it's in black and white. Part of the motivation was to do that was seeing the success of like That's in New York, right? Where it's like I can get it done faster and cheaper. And so yeah, this is different than most of my comic books. It's a little more broad, but I like making cerebral stuff. So I think having this series kind of hopefully gives me the financial freedom to do other like less broad, like weirder stuff, essentially. So it can go on for a while. Yeah.
Well, you talked about Destiny New York. Oh, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I have a question, but let's bring in our very special guest. How about that?
I'll stop sharing for a second.
I don't stop sharing. How special is this guest?
We can come back. We can come back. It's not.
Well, yeah, there he is.
There he is.
Oh, what are we looking at?
Pat, we appreciate you coming in. I know you got an early day tomorrow and probably did a heck of a lot of work today. So thank you for coming on.
Of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, did a second inventory day today too. Set up for the con. I'm glowing. Is it success? Is it sweat? Who knows?
It can be both at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, are you drinking before a con night? This dude's an animal.
You know what? You're gonna feel hungover whether you drink or not. So you might as well have
Wild
a drink,
turkey
right?
too. That's beneath you, bro.
No,
that's
wild turkey is nice. Wild turkey is nice, man.
Is Jack more your vibe?
No, I can't. I hate when people are like, don't take responsibility for themselves and like, oh, that liquor, it like makes me mean. But bro, Jack Daniels, I've never had a good time on Jack Daniels.
Jack, I mean, I do drink a Jack and Coke. Jack to me has a bit of a cheesy aftertaste if you just take the shot. Yeah, I don't really like that.
Nah, every time I drink that shit, I get too emotional, bro. I'm not even that type of dude, bro. Like, I'm not even that guy.
I live emotional. I'm so emotional. I remind me of my bitch.
Right. Yeah, no, thank you. I'm a tequila guy myself.
Well, Pat, why don't we get a 30-second pit on Vix the Hunter, and then we will finish up with Anthony because we got to get back to the page. But if someone's watching or listening right now, they hear it that way, they're not going to turn the show off. We know that, but their computer could go out. So what is Vix the Hunter? And we will get back to it soon.
Vix the Hunter, post-apocalyptic fantasy thriller. Hunter woman. Her only companion, giant, radioactive, four-eyed, feral fox. Miyazaki vibes, Game of Thrones tone. Boom.
Done. All right. We're going back to Tap or Die, and then we'll get back into that.
How do I follow that up,
You know what? You can follow it up by answering Will's question because I can feel it coming.
So I'm curious around, pacing and page, kind of the way you laid the story out, on the page. Did you go with a fewer panels per page, as kind of an approach because you wanted to get more kinetic and a faster pace? I mean, how did you approach this? Because it's a sports story, right?
I typically try to do less page. I try to keep it in that 4 to 6 range.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think that I didn't think that much about it. But that makes, maybe it was subconscious, maybe I knew what it needed. And I gotta give Emilio a lot of credit here. Like that's an amazing moment that he, that's not an action moment, but I think he, forced perspective, perhaps. Is what you call it. So he just did an amazing job. A lot of stuff was him, like that. He just knocked it out the park.
Nice.
Yeah, I have to try to get write 4 to 6 panels so that I can keep it at 8 to 12.
Doing it with a lot of panels.
I'm terrible, but I really have fought the urge because it's just brutal to an artist.
Humana. Yeah, I don't have a lot of dialogue. I really try to keep the dialogue. That's where I differ from my my mentor below me. You know, he loves dialogue. Boy, loves some dialogue, man. I like to keep it short and sweet.
Now, I did notice we've got a nice, sexy cover. This is the first time you've had a book where that could fit, I believe. Have you felt like that's been a nice little boost for you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, bro. I think I sold like 30 copies of that thing so far, and I only did it because you're seeing the passion and influence, of course, but I only did it here because it made sense because it's a wrestling book, right? Like I would never have an SFW cover for Decay or Intrusive Thoughts, but it just given the nature of it, it made sense. And then also something I'm gonna do. I'm working with you guys know Richard Fairgray?
A little bit. I'm on his email list, and boy, he can write an email. I'll tell you that.
He can do a lot. He can do a lot, bro. But we're working together on, my concern always is like, are we capturing too much from the male gaze? So we're gonna show a locker room scene that's gonna have a lot of male genitalia, because we want to be equal opportunity, So
God bless it. Yeah. Before the show, we were talking about Metasaurus here, and I loved that she had a sexy cover with a dude's butt, and I showed it to my wife, and she went, "Ooh, tushy! Look at his little tushy!" And I was like, "Matta killed it." Then give everybody in the audience something to enjoy if that's what they want.
We're gonna put that cover to shame with this one. There's gonna be a lot of balls.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, get the people what they want. And this is from my series of K, which you guys are familiar with.
Yep.
What was that, Pat? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just said you got to ball out.
Absolutely. And there's the team, we got Chris Vertis came with the story. We came with the story together. Emilio did the art lettering. Armin did not much of anything, but try to get a homie, a little credit, get his name on a good book somehow, you know what I'm saying? And then we have the variant cover artist.
We're gonna have to get Armin on next week to tell us what that really means.
So how did you come across your variant artist? I mean, I know I just copy Pat Shan and go after his guys. So
okay. So I don't know how to pronounce their name. Is it Jean? It's ZHEAN Mart. How do they?
Yeah, I mean, I've never. Who introduced me to her? I asked the same question. Didn't know. I've always said Zine Me Art, but it could be Zia. It could be Zia Me Art. Who? I mean,
Chris says Jean.
Chris says Jean.
Jean.
Like Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude, yeah, Jean, like Gene. I guess
that dude's talented. He can act. He can kickbox. He can draw variant covers. I mean,
he can do a split.
He can do everything.
Bro did the crazy splits, but I got them. Pat recommended that, and then Chris Moses, my writing partner, unfortunately, he recommended the other two, David Alejandro Mejia, who does an incredible job. Like that dude is so, like, that man, you give him something and he just knocks it out like 1 week, just minimal, just bang it out. It's like so stress free. And then as well as Damiano Restivo, who did the Bearhead cover, insanely talented, had like the MTV vibes going. Really, really fair price. And we're actually doing a book with him with Charlie McElvey. Me, Charlie, him, Chris, and I think Vito Delasante. So that's also cool. So that's it's a good group of guys.
Well, awesome.
Nice.
Good luck on that. We promised you we were going to give you the opportunity to get out of here and get to sleep if you needed to. So we'd love to have you hang around while we go into VIX. But if you need to get out with your work and what you got going on tomorrow, we won't be mad either.
I can stay till at least 11:30.
All right. Well, let's get into VIX the Hunter then. Pat, I'll pull up the page. You had talked about the feral fox. That was the image that absolutely jumped out at me on the page. Like, your lead girl is gorgeous, but that fox is extraordinary. Was that something that you came up with as I pull it up from the start, or did you come up with that with the artist as you started working?
The fox was actually because this is set in the same world as a book that I did called Afterglow. That I think it was 2018 that I did that with Caitlin Smith.
Oh,
and
she's awesome.
She's great. And that book followed a different character and a giant radioactive cat. And there's a scene where the girl and the cat, and to the girl, the cat's huge. It's like an elephant size. There's a scene where they go into the woods and these giant, like skyscraper size 4-eyed foxes come out. So this is a baby fox.
Okay.
So those characters always look cool to me. There's even on the covers, there's elements of other foxes that you can't see, like when it's attacking, even the drool glows green. So it's pretty cool. That always stood out to me, and I wanted to expand on the Afterglow world. I was noticing we did it as one volume, but it sells so well at cons. It's a whole world, It's not like for example, Prison Witch, a different book that I did as a trilogy. I could go back and do more with different characters, but the truth is that Prison Witch takes place in our world. With my other books, Destiny New York is its own world, and Afterglow is also its own world. So I thought, since it's so developed already, it makes sense to do more in this. And I love those foxes. So we built out actually Fox first. So it was Fox, then VIX.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Pat, like, how do you decide when to do a Virgin logo or when not? And also part B, like, what's stopping you from having both for every cover? Because I feel like financially that might be a good move.
It might be. It's the same thing. Speaking of sexy shit, it's the same thing that stops me from doing on one of the Cheeky Comics annual campaigns, or like, for example, the next Cheeky Comics launch is Private Dance. There are covers where there's a standard version and a nude version. And then there are covers where it's just the standard version. I don't want to overload. I just want to give the best option every time. In fact, I'll say this. There's a cover on VIX where I didn't ask for it, and it was never my intention. But the artist supplied a nude version, and I brought it to the team, and I was like, hey, should we use this? Because it would make money, but it wasn't the thing that I envisioned for VIX. Even though VIX is an R-rated book, it's not a particularly sexy book. Like there's sex in the book, but I feel the same way as Stokes. Like people, because I do books about sex, people go, "Oh, he's the guy who does sex shit." I put sex covers on books that have sex elements in it. So I showed that to the team. I was like, it feels kind of like a financial L to not use this, but I didn't envision this. And the consensus was, Armin was, yeah, use it. He
should have
known. But Shannon was like, no, the truth is, like, here's the reason. The world's Afterglow, and we want different options in that world. We have Afterglow, which we sold it as just a comic book, but the truth is anyone can read that. All ages can pick it up. Adults can read it the exact same. And VIX is for adults only. So the fact that Afterglow can be accessible by kids, we didn't want people to read that who are young and see the fox and want to read VIX, and then all of a sudden see a version of a cover with titties on it, So that's why I chose to not do that version. And yeah, I feel like sometimes limiting the options is best for my sanity, for one, just to deal with less stock, less variant stock, and the people who were going to buy the extra ones on this, I'll have another campaign for them next month,
Right.
Oh, that's Private Dance.
Yeah,
Boy,
Yeah.
I can't wait for that one, bro.
it's exciting. It's exciting. Yeah, I was actually going over the art for that, and because I'll write the script, pass it off to the artist, and not even look back at it for a long time. So when the layouts come in, the art comes in, I'll read it fresh, and I'll read it as if I didn't write the shit. And as I was reading Private Dance, I was like, "This is well researched."
I think I was with you when you did some research one of those couple
Yeah,
times,
man.
you know. So you're saying your writing process, you write the script, you're a busy guy, you know, like you got like 1,200 different projects at once. You send them the script and then you just kind of like let them in their little sandbox, and then you come back and look at like a majority of these are like a bunch of pages.
Yeah, some artists do it one by one, some do bulk. I like my best pace for this is like send me 6 to 10 pages. But sometimes the artists are just so fast. Like Yishan Lee, who's drawing Private Dance, is lightning fast.
Yeah.
So I'll get my first email from her, and she says their layouts. To me, it's pencils. It was pencils for the whole issue. So that's my opportunity then to go in and tinker with the letters as I'm checking the art to make sure the story all lines up, you know? And I mean, certain books, like, for example, on Destiny New York Universe stuff and Cthulhu, Jeff Massey is the assistant editor, so he'll come in and he'll give notes on dialogue after I've handed the script off to the artist. So then I'll go in and apply that. Then when the art comes in, I'll further hone it. So I'm just always going back to the script, and at every step, I just try to make it better and better and better.
That sounds exhausting, bro. But I mean, it's working. It's working.
Yeah.
I like that because like I'm working on 4 different comics right now, and like when you get the art in your mailbox, it's like you want to stop. You want to, you want to stop and check it out. And it would be nice if it's like, yo, this week you turn in art. This week like it would be sweet. You know what I'm saying? It's like almost having that fast artist is like a gift and a curse. Like bro, I just talked to you yesterday. Like
I'm gonna speak for all writers out there. Artists, do not listen to what Anthony said. If you want to turn in your art quickly, you just go the fuck ahead. There is no curse to quick art. If it's good, you turn it in as fast as you want to.
Bro, I mean,
that shit might not get looked at though.
There's one artist I'm working with right now who, man, if I could, how's the Flash get his powers? Is lightning?
Wow.
I would put that in the middle of some lightning, and I was like, dude, get flashed up, you know, because sometimes the art drags, you know, and sometimes it's lightning quick. It's quicker than you. There are artists who right now are waiting for me because they're just so much quicker than the artists who I need to be quick sometimes.
Yeah.
So how do you guys do? You've got an editor in the process here. Do you bring them in while you're doing, the basic? Do you just do a plot, just do a rough, or do you just go straight to a rough draft of the script and then have the editor look at it? How do you guys do that?
I don't have an editor.
What?
I don't have an editor. Can I borrow Shannon? I don't have an editor, bro. There's too much. Like, I'm not. And anytime you say that, right, people are like, "Oh, you fucking hate editors, don't you?" It's like, no, bro. Like, I'm just spending so much damn money, and like, if somebody got to get cut, it's the person. Like, you know what I'm saying? That I do the editing for my books, and I got like, Richard Fairgray, Chris Mose, who I'll send it to, get thoughts on it. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was just like adding an extra person in between. I also like to cut my teeth on my books, like for now, I feel like it's good for me for my development to not have a light supervision per se, but like not somebody over my shoulder that's gonna hopefully help me hone my instincts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for me it's different for every book. Like with Destiny New York stuff, Shannon has been editor since book 1, and largely she knows what's going on in the story in advance, and she'll just see art as it comes in, and she's very good with catching stuff. Like she's hyper focused on shit. Like in Destiny New York, Logan has 2 dots on her right eye. Lilith has different earrings in each ear, tattoo. Trinity has 2 tattoos. Now our character Arvid has 1 hand, so she's always kind of keyed in on that kind of stuff. And she'll also like bring up major things that she has questions about or problem with, or we'll just talk it out. And I'll come to revelations about characters through those conversations. There was this one moment where we were talking about one of the main characters' behaviors in Volume 4, and Shannon was like, "How can we possibly give this character her redemption that we've been talking about in Volume 5? Like, what could we do to make her more likable?" And I started thinking about it, and then I was like, I'm thinking too much about what we do. Let me think about what she does, and I put myself in the character's head, and I was like, "Oh no, she gets worse next volume." So just those conversations are what makes me think that way. And recently, bringing Jeff Massey in, we had a meeting on Destiny New York 6 and on Smoke We See the Future 2, and we just talk about where I'm going overall with the story. They chime in with notes, they chime in with questions, then I'll write the script. Massey will go over and line edit the dialogue, and I'll either accept or decline the changes or like think about different things. And then Shannon will go over the art as it all comes in, and she and Jeff will both go over letters. And separately, as far as covers go, I have a WhatsApp with my entire team, and I'll throw covers in there. For example, like today, I had a cover for this artist, Lyrics, great artist, who did I Summon Cthulhu to fund my Kickstarter issue 2, a cover for that. And she gave us the main cover, and then in the corner, she gave us like an alternate option to use for the face. So I'll float that kind of stuff. Like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Do we go for her main option for the face, or do we choose that face? And we talk about that. Armin says a bunch of crazy, weird stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it's all over the place.
We got to get Armin on. I've never met this guy.
Yeah.
He sounds like somebody we got to have explain himself one way or the other.
He's not. He won't do it.
He won't explain
He
himself.
won't explain.
Yo, Armin talks like somebody is recording the conversation for evidence, bro. Like he will never give a straight answer.
He is very subtle, but he thinks he's being crystal clear. He actually, as we're talking, he actually just hit a lick. He messaged me that he got a great cover raid. I mean, this guy's a goddamn, I don't know, he's a magician or something. So yeah, Armin and I do this these course promotions where he'll have one half of a print and I'll have the other half, and he has some guy in a desert create these. Metal prints are common now, but these he makes them like textured and embossed. I've never seen anything like these. It's beautiful stuff.
Nice. Keep him close. So this is in the world of Afterglow. Is this and it's number 1, so that tells me there's going to be a 2. How long would this possibly go, or are you going to bounce around in the world with different characters?
I would say that this will go 3 issues. Jeff Massey, who I mentioned is assistant editing Destiny New York, is writing the feature in here. I created and plotted Vix with him, and he's doing the script, and I'm doing a backup story featuring this other character. So I'd say we'll run this for 3 issues, and then I would either do a different story in the universe, bring back the original cast for their own sequel, or maybe eventually do more Vix with a different a sequel, second arc. Mm-hmm. Who knows?
No, cool. That's definitely this world is me as a reader. This world really has me excited and salivating to kind of pay attention, because that's my shiznit, the fantasy stuff. So I'm super excited to see you play around in this world, the whole team. So we haven't had you on. Congratulations, man. Destiny New York. I don't know what you can say in the world, and I don't want you to say anything more, but I know that something is happening, and it may not always just be a comic book. But I wanted to say congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's cool, and we're always like super excited when anybody does this, but people we've talked to. When Jonathan Hedrick signed something, we were just like, kind of like, Will and I were like little school. Yeah, we talked to him, you know. So super happy that things are happening, and I cannot wait to someday look up on a TV screen and get to see this world in what's still going to be 2 dimensions, but moving 2 dimensions.
Yeah, I'm so happy. I don't know how many people know this, but I love Tegan and Sarah. I love their music. I've seen them in concert many times before they even knew who I was, you know. And Matt Pizzolo, who runs Black Mask, one day called me. He was like, "Hey, do you know Tegan and Sarah?" And I was like, "Do I?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I feel good about it. I can't wait till the strike is over.
Yeah.
Hope the writers get everything they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that it all evens out in the correct time, in the correct way.
Right.
And let's say expeditiously will be preferred.
Yeah.
But we'll see, right?
Yeah, no, I hadn't even thought about the timing hitting, but you are right. I think it's there, from somebody who's not at all involved and just kind of seeing what they're asking for. It all seems pretty friggin' needed, what they're asking for. They're not asking for the world. They're just asking for what they should get. And you know, the world changed, and they're trying to pay them in a way that they paid before, which now is very little in comparison. That's the best way my dumb mind can put it. You know, they used to get a certain amount for 26 episodes, which paid for the year, and now they're getting it for 6 to 8, and the people are telling them that's the same amount of money, and the people who are getting the checks are telling us all it's not. So I say, hold out, get what's fair to you, and then come back and write us some great ass TV to reward us for waiting. We'll be patient as long as you give us great TV when you're back.
It all happened at a crazy time, you know. I got a call that they were talking about someone for the lead role. That was so exciting to me. And then immediately at the end of the call, my guy was like, just so you know, once the writer's strike hits, and it's gonna hit, all this stops.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, very, very good. Very good.
Well, I'm glad you have a guy who can let you know, like, was up front and, you know, didn't give you the stereotypical BS. No, don't worry about it. We got this. We'll you know, like, hey, it's gonna happen. And
I mean, yeah, scary up front. I had a lot of calls where it was like, so now that this is gonna be a lot of eyes on you, here are all the things that you do that might get you unfairly canceled. And I was like, oh, well, that's very terrifying. Awesome.
Stokes' Twitter Spaces.
Well, I think that everybody who actually hears you in context knows where the heart is, and just because somebody makes some jokes, I have been known to make some jokes, and fuck them if you can't take a joke, right?
I personally think so, yeah. But it's a whole new world.
Nah, yeah, it's a shame, bro. Cause like I was talking with my boy about this, and somebody's celebrity's been gotten outed as a cuckold, and I was like, I almost made some jokes, but you know, somebody's gonna be that one person that's like, oh, you're making fun of, like, what's the opposite of monogamy? I haven't been in a relationship so long. What's the polygamy? You're making fun of polygamous relationships or something like that. And I was like, oh man, like if that happens, I'm getting off Twitter, bro. I'm done. You can't make fun of cucks anymore. Like, oh man, internet's over.
I retweeted 5 campaigns about 3 weeks ago, and I woke up the next day to be told that I was throttled down and couldn't like or retweet for 3 days. So I just took it off my phone. I said, screw this. I mean, if I can't retweet my friends' campaigns, what the hell am I doing? So I pop on once a week on the computer, and you know, but there's no better place. I know, Pat, you do TikTok, and you've said it's great for comics, but
Yeah, fucks with TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are spots, but I don't know. I'm just like going to be an old man digging a hole and just hoping someone comes to my hole and grabs a comic pretty soon.
I mean, TikTok is great at showing you what you want to see. So, for example, if I open up my phone, not seeing that many comics, but if someone who's really into learning comics on TikTok opens up their feed, they might see my stuff, because TikTok really, it's an app that wants to keep you on while not suppressing you. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they all want to keep you on by making it so people don't leave. They're worried about people leaving. They're not fixing the problem of keep them on. They're only fixing the problem of giving paths to leave.
Okay. No, that's interesting. I don't know. We were talking about this. Will and I were kind of texting about like basically just hunkering down into the email lists for the next 6 to 8 months and just dancing with the ones that bring us and hope that at that time we'll have some answer on where to be. But
as far as the Twitter replacements,
yeah.
Oh yeah, none of those are going to work. It's going to be just Twitter. I bet each and every one of you $1,000. None of them work. Threads.
I've been beating that jump for a while.
Threads is the closest one. It's going to be the closest by far. But when people were going on Blue Sky, I was like, bro, I mean, you guys have done this like 12 times now.
Mastodon,
like the shit's not going to work. Like
Tribal.
Like it's not a thing. Like, here's the thing. People on Twitter are upset with the ownership. Is it enough to change the tides entirely and have that entire group move to one specific platform? Fuck no. There's no way in the world. It's not going to happen. I mean, I was talking to people who, a good friend of mine, who you all know, he and I debate over this shit, One night...
was it Raven?
No, he doesn't debate anything. He doesn't know shit. I was talking to my buddy, and he was like, so this proves me right about, I think it was Hive at the time, right? And I was like, what proves you right? He goes, Twitter just fired all these people. It's going to be gone by the weekend. And I was like, hey, bro, no, it's not. That is one of the biggest companies in the world. They can fire 90% and have a full functioning staff tomorrow. It's not going to happen. These sites cannot compete. There's no way. I mean, and I think that Twitter sucked before. Twitter is bad now. Twitter was bad before. It was run. I mean, and Jack is evil, bro. Like, Jack made Twitter. That makes him evil. Like, it's people are so like, oh, Elon. Yeah, cool. Him too. But Jack, it's been like this.
Yeah.
Let me say.
So I'm going to, 1 second. It's really funny. I either talked to that person or it was me, because we had a conversation very similar like this, because like it looked for a second like it was breaking and then it didn't. And you were absolutely right, because we actually talked about it.
It wasn't you. It was.
You don't have to out him.
No, it's not outing him. No, it's Charlie. Charlie Stickney.
Oh, yeah.
I figured when you said we all knew him, but I didn't know.
Charlie and I debate over everything. Charlie and I debate over things about like
In-N-Out Burger, and you're right.
Yeah, In-N-Out Burger.
Delicious.
No, delicious. It sucks. It is the most overhyped fast food in the history of the world.
In-N-Out to me is and bro, I lived in California. I'm a New Yorker. Go to California. I moved back because of In-N-Out. It's a trick that Californians play on New Yorkers. Like, oh, the burger's really good. The fries aren't too bad. Just ask for them well done.
The fries are trash. Somebody lied. The fries are dog shit.
Hey, let's go stand in line for an hour to get fast food. What the fuck are you talking about?
There are better burger joints in California. This is the In-N-Out fry. It's no.
I don't
Try this
understand
dish.
why it's so bad, bro.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I don't know how it could
understand
be. And you see them taking the potatoes, running them through that thing. It doesn't. I don't know. They're natural cut potatoes, but yet no potato tastes worse. like what is their oil? Like how is it so bad?
Use
And
some
guess what?
peanut oil, motherfucker. Use the Five Guy oil. That shit, them shit's
Yeah,
delicious.
yeah.
Those are good fries.
You know what it is? It's like they're so thin. There's nothing like you like. It's so thin. It's like they're not quite like fritas, and then they're like not as big as McDonald's fries. You're just eating fried air.
They're nothing. And here's the thing about everyone says, "Oh, you got to make it animal style." Animal style sucks. Animal style is a mess, bro. Like, I mean,
You gotta eat with a fork.
yeah, you gotta eat it with a fork, and then you gotta go throw up because it looks the exact same as the shit.
Because the animal style is like what? It's like onions, the sauce, and then
onions,
like one slice of cheese. So it's like most of the fries don't even get like, and you're still eating like normal fries and one good bite of like everything. Yeah, no.
It's a nightmare. In-N-Out is like your friend who you smoke together, and you're excited to order food, get munchies, and he's like, "No, bro, I got you. I'm gonna make the best meal you've ever had." And he goes and he puts his fries in the oven instead of frying them. He puts some bullshit on them, and he gives it to you. When you look down, you're like, "What the fuck? I'm never smoking this apple again." You know?
What was he cooking?
That, yeah.
Unfortunately, Will has been reaching out to In-N-Out to sponsor Explain Yourself. I think we might have. Damn it!
I'll watch it.
Hey,
I'll
you know
keep
what?
watching.
The
I
truth
like
is the
In-N-Out.
truth.
I had it one time, but I liked it. I like what I had, bro. Them tomatoes were fresh.
Hey, if
That's-
I didn't have to wait 40, I honestly think we waited 40 minutes. I don't know what
Just
my
go to Five Guys at
actual
that point.
argument would be, because it was like fine. The burger was fine, and I do not want to wait 40 minutes for a fine burger. I would have much rather gone to Burger King and gotten a regular ass double cheeseburger that's better than fine. Not great, but better than fine. And I would have been home. I would have been in the hotel 30 minutes earlier. That's my thing on In-N-Out.
I really,
Because it's
you
you're
can
like
believe
you're
me.
not in and out. You're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and in and out. Like, come on, guys.
I really hate to pivot away from fast food, genuinely. But what I will say about Twitter is, bro, like I'm looking at the numbers right now. Like Decay issue 2, I got like $1,400 from Twitter. Like, which is, I know that's some change to you, but to a budding star well, yeah, I know what you do for I can't even tell. You gotta be, you gotta be in the Twitter spaces for that one. But $1,400. I don't even know how. I don't know how I made $1,400 on Twitter. That is insane. DK issue 3, I made $600, and Choose the Thoughts like $1,000, and it was just so much more. Like, you were just getting so much more interaction. You were getting so much more engagement. I'm not going to say I would say before Elon, and then like it's like this last stretch. It's been like 2-3 months where the engagement was ass. That's all I had to say about the whole Twitter thing.
It's interesting too, because like it's tough to tell where those things really come from, because if somebody came to you for Decay issue 2 from Twitter, bought it, liked it, and then came to Tap or Die through your Decay updates, then Kickstarter is going to say Kickstarter brought you that. So it is kind of tough to say exactly where things come from. But I think Tyler James kind of really talked about, like, use social media, whatever it is that you feel good on, use it, but don't depend on it ever, because Friendster, MySpace, he named all the things, GeoCities or whatever. Like, use it to the best possible you can, but don't depend on any one social media ever. because they can go away. And I was like, yeah, eventually they'll probably go away. I have been surprised to see Facebook now. I see 4 advertisements and 1 high school friend, and then just random memes. And I was shocked how much Facebook has changed in the last 6 months. I don't see it as useful at all. Because if I'm looking at my feed and I don't see anything from Pat, I don't see anything from Anthony, I don't see anything from, Joey Galvez has books on, and I think I follow everybody, and I'm
from
not
Raven,
seeing
you
it.
probably see. From Raven, you have to see. He's constant.
I don't know if I'm actually Facebook friends with Raven, to be quite honest, and that might be not why, but I'm not seeing any comics on my feed at all on Facebook. I see them on Instagram. I do see it on Twitter because of the people I follow, but yes, use social media, get as good as it as you can, but don't depend on it because it's kind of up and down at best.
Gang, yeah. I mean, I agree entirely. I feel like just trying new things on social is good. I mean, this isn't new, but I've been doing reels more myself on Instagram. Instagram's trying to copy TikTok, and I say let them, that they're doing an okay job. As Stokes does the spaces on Twitter, and those to be cool. It's something that you could do casually while doing other shit. It isn't like a podcast where like I couldn't be shipping and printing stuff while I'm doing this,
Y'all can do other stuff. I got a host, but I got you.
Yeah. Right.
In theory.
Will and I aren't dictators. You can do whatever you want, man.
No, yeah, but if I was doing shipping, I'd be doxing all the backers. You see the addresses.
One day, Will and I are going to do that. We're just going to be trying to get people's names. Adding it to our email list. Yeah.
Y'all don't know this guy, Antonito.
That's the TikTok of our show. Is we're always trying to.
Our friend Antonito. I don't know how well Pat knows Antonito. Oh, my camera's doing this thing. I think it'll. I sent him the package for like Decay, whatever, and he takes a picture of it, and it had my address as a return address and his address, and I was like, "Ant, you just doxed us, bro." Yeah, it's not good, not safe.
All right. Well, Anthony, I promised you that I would get you out early, and Pat, I know you've got work to do tomorrow as well. So why don't we do our 30-second pitches on both books, and you guys can get to bed and go out and throw some comics at some people tomorrow. Anthony, your camera just went out. So Pat, if you could do 30 seconds on Vix the Hunter.
Post-apocalyptic world, hunter, only friend, giant feral fox, radioactive giant feral fox.
And it comes from a world that Kaylin Smith drew. I mean, hello. Yeah. You get?
Oh, it's also it's the reunion. This is for the Zenescope fans. It's the reunion of myself and Larry Watts. Larry Watts drew Robin Hood, the original Robin Hood trilogy. Yo, Stokes' video camera right now is like a horror film. It's getting to different angles,
It's every time, bro. You've been a mini stream with me. The camera never.
It's like the dude on TikTok who does the Omegle pranks, where like he makes the video where it seems as if the girl scrolled past him and she's talking to someone else, and then it switches back to him doing some scary shit. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah. It's a mess. I'm a mess.
I meant to ask and I forgot. Can people pick up Afterglow in the campaign? Do you have copies of that, or is that gone?
Yeah, no, of course.
Okay, all right.
Copies of that. I have copies of Cerulean Dreams, which is where goddamn Vix came for the first time. We did a short story.
Boy, that is an adult comic. You're right.
What?
You said Vix came for the first time in that. That isn't a
Cerulean Dreams is a one-shot that had stories for 3 of our worlds. Smokeweed, See the Future. There we go. Destiny, New York, pictured below. And the Vix story, which reintroduced the world of Afterglow. And If you want a little extra bonus Nick story, find out a little bit about her origin. Cerulean Dreams is also available on the Kickstarter.
Awesome. All right. We're going to do this quick, Anthony, because your camera's up. Tap or die?
I say get 30 seconds.
Well, like you're the one who wants to go to sleep. So
No, listen,
Yeah.
it's a great comic book. It's got wrestling, it's got love, it's got sex,
Ooh.
it's got wrestling.
Yeah.
It's got character, heart.
it's got wrestling and wrestling.
It's got themes. It's got dialogue panels. No color. The only thing it doesn't have is color.
It has gutters. It has
no page turns though.
No page turns?
Never with you. We know
Only
never.
Betty.
All right, and no editors, guys. It was a pleasure. I really appreciate you coming out with us, especially because you got such a busy day tomorrow. Good luck on the rest of the campaign, and let's keep making comments. Appreciate you coming on.
Let's go.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Thanks.
Good night, everybody.
All right, Pat.